obviously, but no, in terms of my awareness of you.
Oh.
Can I tell you that story?
Oh, no, I remember it was a big day in my career. Bobby Lee is finally aware of me. Am I on Bobby Lee's radar?
See, this is what he's going
to... This is when things start to happen.
See, I'm not going to allow this to happen.
Reversal.
I'm not going to allow this to happen.
Reversal.
Yeah. I'm just going to plug away. You know what I mean?
Listen, you can talk to him all you want. Am I on Bobby Lee's radar?
See, this is what he's going to...
This is when things start to happen.
See, I'm not going to allow this to happen.
Reversal.
I'm not going to allow this to happen.
Reversal.
Yeah. I'm just going to plug away. You know what I mean?
Listen, you can talk to him all you want. I can hear it. Yeah.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it. Is there anybody you can cut this out? I'm honest, dude. Like,
seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
There's
you can mention the amount.
Absolutely crazy people.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, Nerd Jesus died in the last year, right? Steve Jobs. Yeah, he died, right? I know. A lot of nerds here tonight. I know, you're sad. I didn't get it. I didn't get the big deal they made about that guy. When he died, they were like, he changed the world. Doesn't say. He changed the world. The world was like, he changed the world. Doesn't say. He changed the world. The world was one way, and then Steve Jobs came, and it was another. What did he do? Somebody, for the love of God, what the fuck did that guy do? What did he do? He told other people what to invent? I want my entire music collection in that phone. Get on it! Just walking by, I don't hear any thinking going on in there. Just strutting around the office, eating some pretentious fruit like a pear, right? Just throwing out ideas. There's another one. There's another one I just came up with on the way to work. I was reading a magazine the other day, turning pages, you know. I like to turn pages on a screen that aren't even there. Yeah, wrap your fucking heads around that, guys. See you in 8 years. Sneakers and no belt like it was no biggie, right? like he's Tesla. Tapping into the atmosphere. I know, this is always uncomfortable. I know, you bought into it, right? That whole advertising, the way they aligned themselves with some of the greatest people of all time. Jesus, Gandhi, me. Remember that? Muhammad Ali, John Lennon, this guy. Right? That whole advertising, the way they aligned themselves with some of the greatest people of all time. Jesus, Gandhi, me. Remember that? Muhammad Ali, John Lennon, this guy. How the fuck was that dude like any of them? Gandhi didn't have a sweatshop. Nah, he didn't have people leaping to their deaths only to catch a net and get ricocheted back through the window to have to put together yet another iPad. To their deaths only to catch a net and get ricocheted back through the window to have to put together yet another iPad. John Lennon didn't have children in his basement pressing those fucking albums. I know. New phone can't fit the old charger. This is your hero? This is the guy? This is what all the silence is about? This is the guy? This is what all the silence is about? New phone can't fit the old charger, so then you gotta throw it out, ends up in the ocean around some octopus's neck. Do you realize how much sea life is ecstatic that man is no longer walking the earth?
And I'm in the middle of watching the World Series, and out of nowhere, they have this moment, stand up to cancer. I'm watching a ball game, and all of a sudden, everybody stands up. No, there's a time and a place. Look, I know somebody that has died of cancer. I would never go to the movies with you and in the middle of it hit pause and be like, oh, by the way, Conan, I know this guy.
What your take is on Joe Biden?
His hand's on woman's hip, right? And then you take the picture and you just start writing a bunch of creepy shit up. It's just, it's ridiculous. Like that believe women. It's like all of them.
Going around saying that 87% of the world sucks.
You're not going to get one.
No, but this is the thing.
They're not going to
I
give
can
you one.
say that because there's nothing you can take away from me. What are you going to do? You're going to say I can't do stand-up in strip malls anymore? That's usually the punishment. So the genius.
There was a lot coming from the Hillary Clinton camp that
Genius.
there was a lot coming from the Hillary Clinton camp that Trump is bad for children. And they had a lot of ads that said, you know, children are watching this guy.
Oh, we all know
talk.
that children 5 and 6 years old are always tuning into the debates. Taking notes. That's what I did when I was a kid. I'll never forget that. You never saw Weird Science, how creepy these nerds are? All these cameras on your phone, all of that. Do people go on Ancestry.com? Why would you send your saliva into Weird Science, how creepy these nerds are? All these cameras on your phone, all of that. Do people go on Ancestry.com? Why would you send your saliva into the internet? Why would you do that? Why don't you just go to the Illuminati and help them build your robot replacement? I was making fun of the military, you know, which you can't do now. Like, we totally went from Vietnam, all the hippies being like, hey, man, you're like a baby killer, man, to like now you got to give like a standing ovation when they walk off. And
So does your wife watch any of these games with you? Does she?
no, she has the female, complex, multitasking brain. That's why they can't be happy. They just always, they're like, what is that lizard that can look at two things at once? That's what they're like. So you got to figure out a way to like thin out the herd, and it's too late. No, these are the hard decisions that are going to have to be made.
We're here to hear about some hard choices.
I'm on that horrible show my wife watched where he just walks around in the background. And then it's just like, that's what I've learned.
Oh, God.
You know what makes women happy? Nothing. Nothing makes them happy, and that is why they are slowly taking over the NFL, because it annoys them that we can just sit there with like a pizza and a drink, like that's not holding, and just be like and enjoy ourselves. And then also you can't tell other people's kids not to do stuff.
Right.
So you got to come back, and that's what's holding back this country.
Yeah. 20 years, you work your way up to the front, and now still they won't let you.
Yeah, now that fat guy's considered disabled because he can't stop eating cookies. So he gets on. Look at him groaning. 90% of the world is starving to death. That guy. Eat a salad and get on the treadmill like the rest of us. We're all working out. What is the problem? The only thing I didn't like was that shot where he was playing hoop.
Yeah, it went viral. I think he was playing.
What is the problem? The only thing I didn't like was that shot where he was playing hoop.
Yeah, it went viral. I think he was playing basketball and he took a shot and went in.
He was playing with his black friend that he's paying to lose. Dude, I'll tell you right now, go do a show. Third show Saturday night in a comedy club. I'm telling you, you get an unhappily married woman in an undersexed marriage.
I'm listening to every word.
Didn't she, for the first 5 years, have like midgets who wanted to bang their mailman's boyfriend? And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have the power to say no, so she wrote it out. And then when she could make a good decision, she did a show, but she stood on the heads of those little people for 5 years until she got, and then she's sitting there across from this guy like so. You know, rich kids just sit around, you know, doing blow, sitting in Ferraris. They don't do anything. It's the poor kids that they make stuff happen. So yeah, you don't get trampled, grabbing your wig. You know, suspenders flying off. It's so sad. To do what? Get an above-ground pool for $30 off? There is nothing in Walmart. I don't even know where. There's nothing worth getting trampled. It just makes me depressed.
Yeah.
That you would do that. And people sit out for like weeks.
There's a week.
They don't even go to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like they're on their cell phone and their mom's crying. I just think you'd want to spend it with us. And you're sitting out there in that parking lot, feeling those people breathing down the back of your neck, just going like, knowing who you're gonna elbow. It's just the saddest.
There are women that waited 22 days at Best Buy. They waited 22 days.
And what did they get? What do you think they?
2 days.
And what did they get? What do you think they got?
I don't know.
They got trampled.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you're going to go there, you don't want to be at the front of the line. You want to be about 40 deep. And I figure you pop out of the line and you wait till that first wave or two falls down. And then you go over the top like Walter Payton back in the day. Roll out of it. But even then, you got to know on that linoleum floor, you're going to blow out at ease. It's the saddest thing. It's one year what people should do. You know, like Richard Branson, one of these hot air balloon rich guys, you should just like float in over them right before it and just start dropping everything that they want. But even then, they would start stampeding. Like, no matter how many hot air balloons he had.
No, it's a bad idea. You don't want billionaires in hot air balloons dropping toasters.
June, not one gay guy even fucking looked at me. Forget about even hit on me. I have never felt so old and undesirable in my life. Dude, I'm gonna tell you something. It's this one thing as a man, when you get so old that women don't look at you anymore, like you know you're gonna hit that age. You know that day's coming, but nobody tells you at some point you're gonna get so old, not even a man wants to fuck you, right? Dude, that is a statement. When you get so old. So, anyway, she's fucking walking up the street. I'm coming down, right? And it's clear to me that if we keep walking the way we're walking, we're gonna bump into each other. Now, I don't want to bump into a woman. I don't want to bump into anybody in New York. So I do the gentlemanly thing. I clock what's going on. So what I do is I just gradually shift over into my own lane. Now everything's fine, right? But then the weirdest thing happened. We walk like a... Huh? So I turn around to have this confrontation. And let me tell you something. She never looked back. And I'm not going to lie to you. That bugged me. That bugged me for like 3 days. 3 days, I'm just walking around New York, just fucking goddamn fucking bullshit. There's no fucking way you didn't do that on purpose. Who does that? Who drifts, you know? And I'm feeling this anger. It's just burning me up, and I know eventually it's gonna settle in my chest. And then one more time, it's gonna be, I'm sorry, Dada, I'm sorry. It's like, I can't do this. I can't do this to my daughter. I can't do this to my kids. So I started reading up on anger. Like how to let go of shit, I think is what I Googled. And I found empathy. If you have empathy for somebody, you put yourself in their shoes, you can just, figure out where they're coming from, where you're coming from, you can meet in the middle. So I said, all right, here we go. Let me put myself in her shoes. What would cause somebody to accident, to just have a stroke? Did she have Bell's palsy of her left side? Was she a mummy? Did she have a wooden leg? Is she one of those, those fucking diagonal walkers? You get behind them at the airport, they're walking too slow, you try to go around to the right, they start dragging their suitcase over there. You go over to the left, they're coming back this way, it's like they just got off a ship, and everything was just like, no, cut! Right? I was still mad. Still fucking mad. So I said, who gives a shit? I don't... All right, so judging by most of your silence, I will do this math for you. Come on. Let's have a little empathy here. Put yourself in a lesbian's shoes. All right? Who do lesbians date? Women. Who do they move in with? Women. Who do they get in relationships with? Women. Who do they eventually marry? Women. And I was thinking like, oh my God, I did that. I know what the fuck that's like. But that Duck Dynasty guy, I know what he said was wrong, but I don't get the shock. He said that homophobic stuff, and people are like, can you believe? Yeah, I totally can believe it. If I was in Vegas, I would have put 90% of my shit on that he was going to say it. I'd give him a 10% benefit of the doubt, just in case. Are you seriously shocked? Some redneck with a beard down to his dick, sitting in a boat in the middle of a swamp every fucking 6 days. Can we update the language and make it a little more user-friendly for someone like me, right? No, that's where he gets all those fucking ideas. That Duck Dynasty guy, it's not his fault that he went to, he went to Sunday school in like 1949, I think all of that shit comes from the church. They just fucking brainwash you. Don't clap, I don't read, follow someone else. You think people like me? you get on with your life. You go to college, you get a master's degree in English like this redneck dude had. He invents the new duck whistle, or whatever the hell you call it, right? Yours goes whack, whack, mine goes whack, a fucking whack! Dude makes $1 zillion bucks, gets his own TV show, he's loving life. And out of nowhere, here comes that same question 60 years later from Sunday school, and he stands up like the Manchurian Candidate. All right? Why do they go after the old guy in the boat? Why don't they go after the people writing the book? All right? Go and go, hey, could you please tear us out of, those couple of pages? Right? They're not going to do that. That's the Vatican. They're their own city. They got a wall around their own city. They're brushing off cases of pedophilia like it's nothing. They're not taking their call. Oh, what happened? Really? Go fuck yourself. Click. They don't care. No, I learned you're into, but I don't know. I'm not into that religious stuff where, and this is why. I actually walked away from my religion. I had to be honest with myself. One, I didn't like going to church every week, I just didn't. Part of it was I'm lazy. I don't like getting up on Sundays. And the other part was I already heard all the stories, okay? Heard them 3-4 times. The dude hasn't come back yet. We're just sort of mulching over the same shit here. I got it. Right? And then the other aspect was, I actually, everybody else sounded stupid. I did. Look, I'm not talking about the basis of every religion. The basis of every religion makes sense. The 10 Commandments, right? Don't kill anybody. Don't touch my wife. That's my bike, right? That all makes sense. Of which I think I've broken just about every commandment except for the 5th one. That's it. I haven't killed anybody yet, all right? But the murderous thoughts that I have sometimes, I think I could do it. Ron. And he wasn't alive thousands of years ago, so you can hide a lot of it in the mystery. This guy was alive like 45, 50 years ago. He had a driver's license, social security number. There's like footage of him stubbing his toe. Motherfucker, right? I don't know what happened. He was working at Denny's. He got sick of it. He's like, I'll start a religion. Hey, everybody, there's a spaceship coming back. Everybody's getting sneakers. This is Tom Cruise. We're going to try to make you click. People during the slave revolt. Dude, I ain't going up there till I know what Adam's playing for. Fuck this shit. So at this point, I'm really having a battle with myself. Because I'm thinking I can't do this, right? I'm like, I can't do this, but my dick's going, no, come on, man, we can do this, all right? Just relax. Pull yourself together and get on the goddamn train, right? So as always, I listen to my dick. Oh yeah, I get on the train.
Whew. All right. I don't know why that took out so flat.
You got one question to ask Don Rickles.
Who killed Kennedy?
You think he knows?
Well, yeah, he hung out with Sinatra. I figure 6 degrees of separation, he probably knows. Yeah, why not? Where's Jimmy Hoffa? I'd ask him one of those. You ask him 3 mob questions. One of them he's got the answer to.
You don't have any kids.
I'm back. What are moon shoes? It's like trampolines on your feet. Just you're bouncing around like you're on the moon. I didn't know that they ever had them. Flannel toilet? I had no idea. But if I had to guess, when did they come out? I don't know. Does anybody fucking know? Jesus Christ.
Can women be funny?
Will you guys just fucking grow up and just sit down and write your own horse shit and come up with it? Start your own fucking show. Have your own award show.
How would you say that? O-be a man. O-be a man. Oh, I see. O-B-E-A-H. God, I'm stupid. What is your favorite Pokemon in Pixar? I don't know. I'm too old for that. I have no idea what that is. That's that creepy little yellow thing. Those eyes.
This is Southside Steve, and this is Southside Steve TV, and this is Bill Burr.
That's your question?
I'm just saying who you are.
Oh, yeah, all right. I don't like you creep me.
I'm just saying who you are.
Oh, yeah, all right. I don't like you creep me out with that big microphone and that country western shirt.
Oh, no, this isn't country western. It's like, it's hip now to wear this. This is my nightclub look. Yeah, come on.
All right. You're what is this? Rock 100.5. Mm-hmm. This is the worst interview I've ever done. And he's wearing Stetson cologne or something. It's just really overpowering.
How you doing?
You know what he looks like? He looks like the first guy who gets his ass kicked in a Stevenson. The big kingpin. Why don't you handle this? I'm a huge fan of hockey. I love it. And I love that people don't get it down in the States. I love it. I love it. Why do they let them fight? I can't see the puck. It's like music to my ears. It's like, good, yeah, get out of here. Just get out of here. Let me watch it in peace.
Do you remember when they lit up the puck for a few years on
Fox
TV?
News, yeah.
That was you guys.
Do you know? No, but the NHL. No, wait a minute. I'm going to apologize for that.
No, you're big on the,
I mean, that's just business, dude. You're acting like we came and knocked you on the head. You know what we're about?
Wait a
minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a second. Fellow white person, not native to this country. How did you guys get this up here? Did the Native Americans go, oh, well, we like these white guys. You can have all that land? Jesus Christ. No, I get it. Your shit smells like maple syrup up here. Is that what you're telling me? All right. Yeah. I'll go with it.
You know, I rated here, folks.
Is there any specific preparing that you do when you do an urban room, or you just do your regular material?
Yeah, I rent car wash, and I watch. No, it was.
Soul Glow.
Yeah, Soul Glow. I watch that. I make sure I get buy a couple of Red Fox albums.
I start talking like this
when I get on stage.
You're at your girl. There you go. I'm out of it. You just go with honesty. This game's easy.
So your Christian background is part of the show. Or at
Yes,
least
and
two
I wanted
episodes.
to talk to you about Jesus after this.
Well, the only reason why I bring it up is some people thought maybe you went a little too far. You know.
As far as what?
Well, they thought that maybe you were being disrespectful to the Christian religion.
Who did?
I'm telling you, you need to go. You were
Probably
being disrespectful, or just you were just having fun with some of the crucifixes and stuff like that.
I don't even know what I mean. We did maybe 2 jokes about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you think the Catholic Church went a little too far? More so than my cartoon.
All right, listen.
A couple of jokes. I know this is a morning show. You can't bring up all those crimes.
You know what? Technically,
well, they just sort of kept moving them around. You know, like those killer whales at SeaWorld. After it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
It's funny when you said we win. I'm like, did we really win? But I understand what you're saying. Now,
is that African American thing?
Yeah.
Good. Hey, can you do a shout out for Old Head?
What is it?
The Old Fart Network.
Oh, the Old Fart Network. Okay. Hey, what's going on, you old? What's going on, you old sons of bitches? Turn up your hearing aid. You're watching the Old Fart Channel.
I mean, I thought roofing in the middle of July is a redhead. You know? I thought that was a difficult job. But evidently, these mothers, they're bending over at the waist, putting DVDs into DVD players. I don't know how they do it. How do they do it? Oh, the way they push that stroller with the round wheels. Yeah, and the baby in there. It's the most difficult job on the planet. Scientists got to go in a back room and figure it out. How the fuck are we going to get all of this into this? I mean, what year does this guy think this is? This is crazy. This is like Buck Rogers. Dude, my kid has a birthday in like 11 months. Steve Jobs just walking by. I don't hear any thinking going on in there. Just strutting around the office, eating some pretentious fruit like a pear. Right? Just throwing out ideas. Pages on the screen that aren't even there. Yeah, wrap your fucking heads around that, guys. See you in 8 years. Where you going, Michael? Big, little, get on it. Right? And all these people slave away to make his vision come true. And then they have the big nerd fest, right? Down there, Comic-Con, and all their nerd mecca. They're all showing up with their Acne and their Hulk shirts, limping into the arena, right? That whole advertising, the way they aligned themselves with some of the greatest people of all time. Jesus, Gandhi, me. Remember that? Muhammad Ali, John Lennon, this guy. How the fuck was that dude like any of them? Gandhi didn't have a sweatshop. Nah, he didn't have people leaping to their deaths only to catch a net and get ricocheted back through the window to have to put together yet another iPad. Leaping to their deaths
only to catch a net and get ricocheted back through the window to have to put together yet another iPad. John Lennon didn't have children in his basement pressing those fucking albums. I know. New phone can't fit the old charger. This is your hero? This is the guy? This is what all the silence is about? New phone can't fit the old charger, so then you gotta throw it out, ends up in the ocean around some octopus's neck. Do you realize how much sea life is ecstatic that man is no longer walking the earth? That's where it all ends up, you know. Doesn't go in a landfill, ends up in the ocean. You realize that? I hate people who say I don't pollute. I don't pollute. Yeah, you do. You use shit and you throw it out. What do you think, 'cause you put in like a basket, it just poof, disappears? Everything you ever used is somewhere. You ever think about that? Remember that flannel shirt you bought back in the day when you got into Pearl Jam? That's out there somewhere. Probably on some porpoise's face. He's trying to get it off. Stupid little flippers. All the fads. You remember rollerblading? Remember that? Everybody had them. We set up cones. We did little tricks, right? One little homophobic joke killed that entire fad. What's the hardest thing about rollerblading? Telling your parents you're gay. Full-grown adults. Dude, I'm not gay. I don't have the cooties. These mean I suck dick. And they just threw them out. They end up in the ocean. They're made out of plastic. They can't biodegrade. They just break down to little cubes. Fish are breathing them in. 6 months later, you're going out, you're getting sushi. I am. I watch conspiracy theory and like slap fights till like 2 a.m. on YouTube, you know? Yeah, I start like piecing shit together. I'm becoming that guy. I'm like that guy, you know, you sit there, you're sitting there drinking in a bar and all, you know, some guy's cool, you're talking about the game, then all of a sudden he's just like, you know, there's no gold behind our currency. You realize that? You're like, oh yeah, that's great. Pick up your drink, just fucking walk away. Oh, that's what I'm becoming. Totally into conspiracy. That's why I think Barack Obama's going to win the election. I think they're going to let him win because they're in the party, and I think that they need a black guy to blame it on. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Dude, it'll totally feed into the rednecks. They'll be like, you see what happened? Dude, he's only half black. Well, that's the half that did it. That's what happened. I bet the white half was saying. That's what see, I'm just fucking losing people. I am. I just look at TV and nothing makes sense to me. I'm sick of them. Nothing makes sense to me. I'm sick of them telling me shit is shocking that it's completely obvious. Crocodile hunter dies. Oh, can you fucking? Yes, I can totally believe it. It's why I watched the show. I watched it every week because I knew eventually he was going to fucking die, and I wanted to see it. Right? Oh, I like that dog, the bounty hunter video, or the phone message he left. You know, people are like, can you believe he left a steak and shake, and he's busting out a little Beethoven. God damn, I owe this guy an apology, you know? God, I'd love to see his iPod. I can't imagine the eclectic mix of music. There's so much time I spend alone on the road, man. I actually spent so much time alone on the road, actually like contemplated milk to the point I can't even fucking drink it anymore. I'm sitting there drinking, like, man, this stuff is great, tastes awesome, you know? Then I started thinking it comes out of the carton, and I just did the police work. It comes out of a cow, and I'm like, Dad, I want a brand new 2008 Bulldog, all right? I don't want some like 1995, half a Labrador. It's got part of its ear chewed off, you know? Every time I go to use the toaster, it starts freaking out. You know, because his last owner hung him from the ceiling fan every time the Jets didn't cover the over, you know? Dude, that is an animal. That thing could kill you. If a squirrel wanted to fuck me up, if it just started running at me, by the time I used to come home shit-faced and beat the crap out of the dog, right? I got no clue. I'm like, sitting there shuffling to the bathroom. Meanwhile, the dog's getting all amped up, like, fuck this shit, man. I promised myself I wouldn't let this happen again, all right? It's time to man up, man up. Ah! Flying at me. Takes a big chunk out of my neck. Then what? I'm laying on the ground bleeding. What are they going to do with the dog? They're going to take him right back down to the prison like some repeat offender, have like shackles on him and stuff. He's just sitting there hopping back in. We knew you'd be back. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Get me a milk bone, you know? Wheel him in like Hannibal Lecter with like that lampshade around his neck. I gotta work on my temper, though. Something I really gotta do. I let like the thoughts just spin away, you know? I was on a plane the other day. I actually had the urge to elbow an old lady in the face. Waddling around me, and all of a sudden I just feel my elbow like, dude, you're gonna take this shit? This is ridiculous, man. The whole half of the plane is watching it. Come on, man. Come on, man. Dude, we got a wide open shot. Just real life. Poof, you know, I gotta hit it that hard. And then you can play it off. I'm literally talking to my elbow like, dude, come on, man. We can't do this shit, all right? This chick's like 95 years old. We can't do it. I thought I had my body under control, and she got like to right about there, and then I felt my foot like, dude, we could still trip her. Still trip. Chiming in, like leaning into the frame, spitting out their ideas. It's just like, well, why are you talking? Right? You weren't elected. Shut up. Your husband's not running a lemonade stand here. He's running the country. You don't just chime in. Let me guess, is this considered sexist? It is? Why? Oh, okay, you just nodded there, lady. Let me ask you here. All right, at some point, there's going to be the first female president, right? Exactly. Which means at that moment, you're going to have the first male first lady, right? And when that happens, that dude needs to shut his trap. I don't want to hear a word out of him. I want to hear from the president. You, sir, go do some first lady stuff, all right? Go get yourself some gloves that go up to your elbows. Smile lady stuff, all right? Go get yourself some gloves that go up to your elbows. Smile and nod during speeches. Go put your own flair, redecorating the White House, right? Which leads you to Michelle Obama, right? Now she's sitting there holding up those hashtags. Remember that hashtag, bring back our girls? Remember that? It's like, that blew my mind. It's like, why are you showing me that? I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, what am I going to do? Call some Navy SEALs and solve it. What am I going to do? Show up with a sharpened mic stand? Hey, Michelle said to bring him back. Oh, it's unreal. I'll tell you what kills me. Hillary Clinton might run. She might run. That blows my mind. I mean, how she became a senator. She went from being the president's wife to being a senator. Just like that. Lateral move. That's like Tom Brady's wife. It's like, what, you hanging out? You just pick it up? I sucked at sports, and then I banged Tom Brady, and I don't know what happened. I just picked up a ball. I started lacing it. I'm leading receivers. It was incredible. I knew it was going to be like this. You know what's funny? There's actually people out there that think a woman being president is actually a good idea. Shit. Oh, they just come at you with like one horrible idea after another. They have the worst ideas. They do. You ever get to this one, they'll be like, you want to go to brunch? You want to go to brunch on Sunday? And inside you're like, fucking no! But you can't say that. You got to keep her happy, right? So what do? You agree? Yeah, let's go to brunch. See what I'm saying? Where are all those feminists then? You can't find them. There are no feminists in a house fire. You can take the most hardcore feminist, you know, some chick right in your face, you chauvinistic son of a bitch, you know, little short, little haircut, you know. Second those flames break out, she'll twist those little hairs into pigtails. Oh, I'm just a girl. I want to go play jump rope. You're being so bad. Stop it. No. Yeah, that's not a fucking no. That means I want to do it, but I'm afraid you're going to judge me, so I'm just going to make it look like it was your idea so you don't figure out that I've already performed this act with 40 other fucking people. Right? But then, Then you go to court and you get a bad read and there's some guy reading it. Your Honor, she said no. Stop it. What are you doing? You're being so bad. No more chiming in, like leaning into the frame, spitting out their ideas. It's just like, well, why are you talking? Right? You weren't elected. Shut up. Your husband's not running a lemonade stand here. He's running the country. You don't just chime in. Let me guess, is this considered sexist? It is? Why? Well, okay, you just nodded there, lady. He shows up, and he goes, yeah, I think the leak's coming from the upstairs bathroom. We need to shut it up, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden his wife walks in, who isn't a plumber. And then goes, hey, I'm actually thinking, wouldn't you be like, with all due respect, shut the up. I need a plumber in this moment. I'll extend an olive branch here. All right, at some point, there's going to be the first female president, right? Exactly. First lady, right? And when that happens, that dude needs to shut his trap. I don't want to hear a word out of him. I want to hear from the president. You, sir, go do some first lady stuff, all right? Go get yourself some gloves that go up to your elbows. Smile and nod during speeches. Go put your own flair, redecorating the White House, right? Which leads you to Michelle Obama, right? Now she's sitting there. Well, let's go back in history here, okay? You guys stood by us toxic white males through centuries of our crimes against humanity. You rolled around in the blood money, and occasionally, when you wanted to sneak off and hook up with a black dude, if you got caught, you said it wasn't consensual. Yeah, that's what you did. That's what you did. So why don't you shut up, sit down next to me, and take your talking to? Oh, you just want to flip the whole fucking table over? Horrendous. I'm trying to learn to pick my battles when I date girls. I usually argue with women all the time, man. I'm stupid like that. Like I dated this girl one time. She was like really into like women's issues. So we used to always have these dumbass arguments. So one time she came up to me and she goes, okay, explain this to me, Bill. Why does a guy make more an hour to do the exact same job, huh? I go, I'll tell you why. Anytime there's a hostage situation, who do they negotiate for first? Well, at least let the women and children go. Well, what about me? Bullets hurt me too. Why the fuck do I gotta stay in the vault? No, that's my point, man. Where are all the feminists in those situations?
Happy about it. I said, yeah, I turned 50 last year. She goes, how was turning 50 for you? She goes, you're a guy. You probably don't care. It's much harder for a woman, especially with our careers. Oh, did I have fun with that? I just wrote back, where? Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean? White women complaining is one of the funniest. It's like you got a fucking house and a beautiful family. What is the fucking... It's so much harder for...
And out the pilot light, though. All right? I'm keeping some fight in me. I'm not going to be that henpeck guy. Just standing there like, I guess we're making holiday cookies. That dude with the bowed shoulders. She makes them, and then I'm supposed to sprinkle the sugar on them. I don't even think they taste that good, but Out of your mind? I go, I'm not sleeping downstairs. She's like, who are you going to sleep then? I'm like, where I always sleep. I will fucking sleep on your side of the bed if I want to. What are you going to do? I'm bigger than you. I'll hang on to the covers. Try to get me out. No tickling. Good. Yeah. I was like, you don't tell me where to sleep. I sleep where I want to sleep. She's like, well, you don't tell me where to sleep. I'm like, I'm not the one telling people where to sleep. It was one of those classic relationship fights. It's like 2 a.m, you're both half naked. Like, what are you afraid of? What is she going to do if you say no? What is she going to fucking choke slam you onto the kitchen table? Look, I understand if you're dating some woman and she does that UFC, MMA shit, then you got to sleep what she says to sleep. You got to. She's going to come at you. Well, let's get you in an arm. All right. Tapping out. Or even worse, she chokes you out. You wake up on the couch like 11 minutes later, like... Just grab your jacket off the back of the couch. Can't handle that. You know, walk by the TV without looking at you. Only make herself something yummy out in the kitchen. Who gives a fuck? Dude, my wife does that. I just sit there. I just start commentating. Oh, here she comes again, walking by the TV. She really must be mad. She's never body slammed me once. Ever. I'm not saying to be a dick. All right? I'm just saying, you got to keep them honest. You know, we fight a lot over television. You know, so... I don't know. I've kind of come her way. She's come my way. She watches a little bit of sports. You know, I occasionally will watch like a romantic comedy, which, you know, I don't care. You know, the nerd's going to fuck the cheerleader. I'll watch it, right? I don't mind them. It's an uplifting story. I just don't like the love scenes in romantic comedies. They creep me out. They're just so fucking nice. It's like missionary style. There's candles. That stupid saxophone music. They creep me out. They're just so fucking nice. It's like missionary style. There's candles. That stupid saxophone music. It always goes down. Like the saxophone implies the penetration, right? Because they can't show it. They got to make her this one-dimensional, this little angel. They ignore the other 90% of her sexuality. No hair pulling, no ass slapping, none of that shit. None of that taboo stuff of a woman's sexuality. She just kept taking my hand and she kept putting it like right here. And then I didn't know what she was doing. I thought she was like testing my core strength or some shit. I was just like... And finally, I'm just like, what are you doing? She's just like, I don't know, just kind of like, you know, like squeeze a little bit. Yeah, kind of like squeeze it. Why don't you want to do it? It'll be fun. Why don't I want to do it? I don't think I want a passed out naked woman with my fingerprints all around her neck. Having the cop show up. Yeah, she's in there, officer. Damn this thing, it was hers. Maybe that would be like if I was making a cake and I poured some batter in a pan and I put it in the oven and then 5 minutes later you came by and you grabbed the pan, you threw it across the floor and I went, what the fuck, you just ruined my birthday cake. And then you were like, well, that wasn't a cake yet. Well, it would have been if you didn't do what you just did. There would have been a cake in 50 minutes. Something happened to that cake, you cake murdering son of a bitch. Right? No, I think I know. I think I know how to raise a kid. You know what it is? You just play catch with them. That's how you raise a kid. You play catch with them. You just talk about life. You distract them by throwing the ball. They don't even notice. You feel something bad, you feel bad, you know? Unless you're like a sociopath, then you don't feel shit. Unless you got somebody duct taped upside down in your apartment, you know? And if you do something like that, I want you to feel like you can come to me, you know? Yeah, come to me, confess all of that. We'll go down to the precinct, we'll tell them everything. Yeah, I'm gonna turn you in. This isn't fucking Dexter. What are you, out of your mind? Let's have a little empathy here. Put yourself in a lesbian's shoes. Who do lesbians date? Women. Who do they move in with? Women. Who do they get in a relationship with? Women. Who do they eventually marry? Women. Hey, what's that? It's hopeless. Trying to make them happy. Hey, I bought you the shiny thing. Did I do it right? Huh? Trying to get them to take responsibility for their actions. Not gonna happen. The best you're gonna get is I'm sorry, but I know what it's like to be winning a fucking argument. You're winning, and then they turn it around. They're crying. You're apologizing. You're thinking, what the fuck just happened? How am I losing this shit? I had you on the rope. You feel so dumb. You gotta go for a walk. And you're just thinking, how did I lose again? And then you figure it out. It makes you feel stupid. And then you see some bald idiot with a giant... People are, excuse me, you're supposed to say we're pregnant? You're supposed to say, we're pregnant? It's like, well, I'm not a seahorse. So, I'm not fucking pregnant. My wife is pregnant. Look at her. She's putting on weight. Her feet are swelling up. You know, she's miserable. Fucking miserable. I'm still doing pull-ups. I'm crushing it. While being pregnant. I'm still drinking, smoking. Yeah. I saw a woman a couple months back, professional soccer player, right? She goes on to ESPN or one of these sports channels, and she starts bitching, going like, I don't understand. They had to sit there like dumbfounded, like, I don't know. Why is that? That is a conundrum. I have no idea. Literally, I'm sitting at home screaming at the TV because you don't sell any fucking tickets. Nobody is going to women's soccer games. You're playing in a 20,000-seat arena. 1,500 people show up. That's not a good night. The promoter lost his fucking ass. You know, no, there's a time and a place. Look, I know somebody that has died of cancer. I would never go to the movies with you and in the middle of it hit pause and be like, oh, by the way, Conan, I know this guy.
He died of cancer. It was horrific. I could have lifted him up off the sheet with 2 fingers. It was horrible. Hey, enjoy. Oh, by the way, I got molested when I was 9. Enjoy the rest. No, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I think white women started it. At the mall, what happened? No, it's unreal. I'm really fucking annoyed how white women have the fucking balls to throw my white privilege in my face. You know? Sort of separate themselves from these white males with their white male privilege. It's like, bitch, you're sitting in a jacuzzi with me. The fuck are you talking about? Yeah, put your fucking whining. Look, here's a little caveat here, so you don't think I'm a complete asshole right out of the gate. All right, if you live...
Do you feel you were being disrespectful, or just you were just having fun with some of the crucifixes and stuff like that?
I don't even know what I mean, we did maybe 2 jokes about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you think the Catholic Church went a little too far? More so than my cartoon.
All right, listen.
A couple of jokes. I know this is a morning show. You can't bring up all those crimes.
You know what? Technically,
well, they just sort of kept moving them around. You know, like those killer whales at SeaWorld. After it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
All right, I'm not totally following.
SeaWorld. After it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
All right, I'm not totally following, but I don't think
you
I
know
want
what I'm talking about. It's a morning show. I understand.
I came on.
That kid was missed the graduation, and then it was a feel-good story.
It was a feel-good, and we want to leave.
If you want to feel good about America, you watch the morning shows. You don't watch this, you know.
And
we were joking earlier. If that kid's story about the graduation was late night, that would have been a whole different story.
What do you think?
He's still missing. We can't find him. All we found was his hat. But you watch in the morning. It's great.
So evidently what happened was, in World War II, old Adolf came rolling into town, okay, with his tanks with the Porsche engines in them, took over the town in like fucking 90 minutes. She freaked out. She closes up her shop, right? Figured out where all the head Nazis were staying, what hotel. She moved in there, and she started a relationship with one of the Nazis. Yeah, she started fucking a Nazi. She was sucking the dick that did that. Now, just to refresh my memory, what did Sean Connery do again? Oh, you know, every once in a while you give him a little slap. That's what he did. She's sitting there like, hey, Adolf, what's going on? She so sold out her own country, she had to flee it at the end of the war. And I have no idea how many ever seen comes in and takes it over in a couple hours. She must have been terrified, right? And she's a woman. You know, she's into fashion. They show up with those Hugo Boss uniforms. You know, her knees buckle a little bit. Things start getting ugly. People are getting shot in the street. She's freaking out. You know. And she's a woman. And women know, push comes to shove. When you get your back against the wall, no matter how bad it gets, they always have the option of fucking learn this early on. She had the option, and she took it. I can't get mad at her for that, you know? So she's dead and gone. I think she's up there in heaven. I think she made it. She's up there with Sean Connery. Every once in a while, they have a disagreement. He gets a little slap, you know? She doesn't care. Once you shit on a Nazi's chest, I mean, a little backhand's not going to freak you out. Jesus can't say anything. He got a hooker, right? Everybody's got a... Yeah, there you go. So, still buy your Coco Chanel. She's still a hero. She was a victim. She was a victim of that time. She was frightened. She was scared. She didn't know what to do. Anyway. So, we're living in a fucking weird time. Obviously, beyond all the bullshit that's going on now. Like, every time I think feminism has kind of like... I'm just fucking with you. Feminism doesn't bug me, you know. It doesn't bother me. I'm not afraid of it or anything like that, you know, for the simple fact that I know it's going to fail, you know. And I take comfort in that. I do. I'm not rooting for it because I know it doesn't like me. Yeah. Do you know why I think it's not going to survive? Why it's not going to be successful anyways? Because they still need men's... 300 to 400 people a night for a quarter of a century. Not to mention, it's a male-subsidized league. We gave you a fucking league. None of you showed up. Where are all the feminists? place should be packed with feminists. Faces painted, wearing jerseys, flashing their titties. Going fucking nuts like the guys do. In the upper deck with their big beer titties. Am I on the Jumbotron? You know this isn't gonna end well. Did he say I'm pretty? Oh my God. Get out of the relationship. If every study says that you're smarter, okay, the question you should be asking yourself was, we're so goddamn smart, how are we in the situation we're in? Well? No means no, that's another one. No means no. It's like, no, it doesn't. All right? Look, no means no. No, that means no. All right, but no, stop it. What are you doing? Oh my God. You're being so bad. Stop it. No. Yeah, that's not a fucking no. That means I want to do it, but I'm afraid you're going to judge me, so I'm just going to make it look like it was your idea. Bodied person playing a quadriplegic. It's because it's called acting, you dumb fuck. See, if he was a quadriplegic playing a quadriplegic, that's not acting. That's just fucking laying there saying shit that someone else wrote. So tell us, what did you do to prepare for the role? Well, I dove head first into the shallow end of a pool when I was 23. Explain this to me, Bill. Why does a guy make more an hour to do the exact same job, huh? I go, I'll tell you why. Because in the unlikely event that we're both on a Titanic and it starts to sink, for some fucked up reason, you get to leave with the kids and I have to stay. Yeah, that's why I get the $1 more an hour. Well, think about it. If there's a house fire, it's always women and children first. I got to stand there. Well, what about me? Bullets hurt me too. Why the fuck do I got to stay in the vault? No, that's my point, man. Where are all the feminists in those situations? You know what I mean? You can't find them. There are no feminists in a house fire. That's a guarantee. You could take the most hardcore feminists, whatever. Actually, Nerd Jesus died in the last year, right? Steve Jobs. Yeah, he died, right? I know. A lot of nerds here tonight. I know, you're sad. I didn't get it. I didn't get the big deal they made about that guy. When he died, they were like, he changed the world. That was insane. He changed the world. The world was one way, and then Steve Jobs came. Changed the world. That was insane. He changed the world. The world was one way, and then Steve Jobs came, and it was another. What did he do? Somebody, for the love of God, what the fuck did that guy do? What did he do? He told other people what to invent? I want my entire music collection in that phone. Get on it! Out. How the fuck are we going to get all of this into this? I mean, what year does this guy think this is? This is crazy. This is like Buck Rogers. Dude, my kid has a birthday in like 11 months. Steve Jobs just walking by. I don't hear any thinking going on in there. Just strutting around the office, eating some pretentious fruit like a pear, right? Just throwing out ideas. There's another one. Showing up with their acne and their Hulk shirts, limping into the arena, right? Does Steve Jobs go out with a whole chorus line of scientists? No, he goes out there by himself. Sneakers and no belt, like it was no biggie, right? like he's Tesla, tapping into the atmosphere. I know, this is always uncomfortable. I know, you bought into it, right? Tapping into the atmosphere. I know, this is always uncomfortable. I know, you bought into it, right? That whole advertising, the way they aligned themselves with some of the greatest people of all time. Jesus, Gandhi, me! Remember that?
Muhammad Ali, John Lennon, this guy. How the fuck was that dude like any of them? Gandhi didn't have a sweatshop. Nah, he didn't have people leaping to their deaths only to catch a net and get ricocheted back through the window to have to put together yet another iPad. John Lennon didn't have children in his basement pressing those fucking albums. I know. New phone can't fit the old charger. This is your hero? This is the guy? This is what all the silence is about? New phone can't fit the old charger, so then you gotta throw it out, ends up in the ocean around some octopus's neck. Do you realize how much sea life is ecstatic that man is no longer walking the earth? That's where it all ends up, you know. Doesn't go in a landfill, ends up in the ocean. You realize that? I hate people who say I don't pollute. I don't pollute. Yeah, you do. You use shit and you throw it out. Well, you think because you put it in like a basket, it just poof, disappears? That's where it all ends up, you know. Doesn't go in a landfill, ends up in the ocean. You realize that? I hate people who say I don't pollute. I don't pollute. Yeah, you do. You use shit and you throw it out. Well, you think because you put it in like a basket, it just poof, disappears? Everything you ever used is somewhere. You ever think about that? Remember that flannel shirt you bought back in the day when you got into Pearl Jam? That's out there somewhere. Probably on some porpoise's face. He's trying to get it. Think about that? Remember that flannel shirt you bought back in the day when you got into Pearl Jam? That's out there somewhere. Probably on some porpoise's face. He's trying to get it off. Stupid little flippers. All the fads. You remember rollerblading? Remember that? Everybody had them. We set up cones, we did little tricks, right? One little homophobic joke killed that entire fad. A homophobic joke killed that entire fad. What's the hardest thing about rollerblading? Telling your parents you're gay. Full-grown adults. Dude, I'm not gay. I don't have the cooties. These mean I suck dick. And they just threw them out. They end up in the ocean. They're made out of plastic. They can't biodegrade. They just break down to little cubes. Fish are breathing them in. 6 months later, you're going out, you're getting sushi. You think you're being healthy.